I know the latter half of 2.4 just got here, but apparently Yae Miko leaks are all over the internet already. So you know what? Let's talk about the speculation going on with Yae Miko. And there's one character specifically that she reminds me a lot of in her role. Guess which one that character is? If you can guess that one right away right now, clap yourself on the back. We'll talk about that at near the end of the video here. So Yae Miko here has a lot of cool things going on. There's going to be a new catalyst as well coming out that's going to work super well with her. The first thing you need to know is she's going to be very, very focused on her elemental skill. Her elemental skill basically drives the entire character, and whether you like this skill or hate this skill will probably make you like or hate her playstyle. Now, one very cool thing about Yae Miko is that her scaling Ascension stat is crit rate. And crit rate or crit damage are two of the best scaling Ascension stats. Well, she's a catalyst character, and her charge attack actually does like this lightning bolt line AoE that's like a line. Very cool. You can cleave people with it. It has a decent multiplier, but it also costs 50 stamina every single time you use it, which can kind of hold you back a little bit if you're trying to utilize her as your main DPS. We'll get more on that later. Now, her elemental skill here, this is her entire kit. So what this does, it's kind of a new thing to Genshin. We've seen with some characters, right, like Albedo, but what this is you remember that mini event that they had, the defend the tower, defend your castle? This is gonna give you a little turret. You're gonna get 3 charges of this. Each charge has a 9-second cooldown, and each turret has a 14-second duration. I like that already. And what you're gonna be doing here is you're gonna have 3 of these that you can place anywhere. You cannot reposition them once they're in place. That is where they are. That's step 1. Step 2 is they have about like a 10 hilly churls length of AoE around them. That's their radius, okay? So if anyone walks in there, every 2 to 3 seconds, they're gonna hit one of those characters at random. They're not AoE, they hit one person. Here's the other thing though. Since you can have multiple ones of these down, well, they decided to give you a little bit of an incentive to plop them all down there at the same time, because for every little tower you have in that radius, when they overlap like a Venn diagram, they're gonna buff each other up. You're gonna be able to buff at C0 up to level 3 damage. So at C0, you have all 3 of your turrets down. Each one is gonna be striking for like 170% of your attack multiplier every 2 to 3 seconds, which is pretty nice. So you can see that this is really the driving force of her off damage skill. However, it's also the driving force of her entire character, because here it is, her elemental burst, the great secret art, Tenko Kenshin. So this is gonna be her big burst damage skill, and you're gonna wanna have good timing, because when you use this, you want to use it right as about all your towers are about to be destroyed, because this is what it does. You're gonna summon an initial hit on Lightning Bolt at level 10, 468% multiplier, and then what it does then is after that initial lightning bolt hits, it blows up all of your towers, and each tower is gonna blow up for some AoE around themselves as well for 528% multiplier at level 10. And you can have all 3 of your towers at the same time. This is a very large multiplier. We're talking about almost 2,000% multiplier from the procs here from blowing up your tower. So she's kind of like wanting to do off-field DPS with her skill, plant, get off the field, let them proc and do stuff, swap back in, blow them all up, and that's gonna be like her little 22-second rotation there, because the cooldown on this one is very long. Her elemental burst has a 22-second cooldown, and for the second time in Genshin, it has a 90 energy cost, because apparently they want you to pair 100% with Raiden Shogun to help you fill up that energy cost, because it's a massive there. Now, it shouldn't be that bad though, because it's a 22-second cooldown. That's pretty lengthy. That gives you a lot of time to sort of build up that 90 energy. But we're not done though. Remember how I said her elemental skill kind of drives the character, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna plant them all down, blow them all up, and then what is she gonna do? Well, her first ascension here, the Shrines a Sacred Shade. When other nearby party members use an elemental burst or elemental skill, they will reduce the cooldown of your E by 1 second. And this can be applied every 1.8 seconds. And this is where her kid is like, good, but are you good enough to fully utilize this? Because are you good enough to proc this to reduce the cooldown by 1 second and then wait 0.8 seconds and then do it again? Now, the next one here is a very interesting one. So Yae's Electro. So a lot of the reactions that she has access to into the game have access Electro as an element to vaporize, to melt, to the big ones out there. So this one is a very interesting thought process behind Yae Miko. Every point of elemental mastery you have will increase your Setsuho Sakura damage by 0.12%. And here's the caveat about this. It only buffs up one single tiny part of your kit. You have multiple things that you can do damage with: charge attack, elemental burst specifically, and your elemental skill. This only buffs up your elemental skill damage basically by 0.12% for every 1 point of elemental mastery. So 10 elemental mastery gives you 1.2% damage on your elemental skill. So there could be some builds out there that you just throw away your charge attack, you throw away your elemental burst, you stack some EM, you stack attack, you stack crit chance, crit damage, electro damage as well, and then you just all in on your E. You don't really care about using your burst, and you're just having little totem armies out there, like an enhancement shaman in World of Warcraft or something. I don't even know. I don't even know. Do shamans have totems in WoW still? I have no idea. Now, before we get into Constellations, there is going to be something that comes out for her. There's going to be a new 5-star Catalyst. Go figure. That works extremely well with her kit. Now, the 5-star Catalyst has 66.2% crit damage on it, which is awesome because remember, Yae Miko has scaling free Ascension crit rate, so those two work hand in hand already. And then the special ability on it. You gain a stat called a Kagura Dance when you use an elemental skill, which makes all your elemental skill damage increase by 12% for 12 seconds. And this stacks up to, guess what, 3 times. So if you have this new 5-star Catalyst, you can plop down all of your little totems around, they're zapping enemies, you get 36% elemental skill damage for 12 seconds. On top of that, have all 3 of these stacked up, ready to rock and roll. You're gonna get 12% all damage bonus as well. So you're gonna get 36% element damage bonus, and then an additional 12% electro damage bonus for 48% damage bonus to your skills and 12 to everything else. So of course, they would make something like this that is amazing for their character. And this here also sort of makes that elemental mastery ascension a little bit worse, because do you want to spend all that EM to buff up your skills when you're gonna get 36% for free? You're getting a lot of percent damage bonus. This is a lot of elemental mastery you're gonna have to match this, where you could have bonus crit chance, bonus crit damage, bonus attack, and that'll work with this bonus here for your E, and all of those stats that you're building instead of elemental mastery are gonna boost up your charge attack, boost up your elemental burst damage as well. So this Catalyst seems almost like a necessity-ish with this character for what we know right now. Now, she is very hard to theory craft with because she is supposed to be like the Electro payoff support character, right? And this is the character that I think she reminds me of a lot right before we get to Constellations, Fischl. She reminds me a ton of Fischl. Fischl does a lot of off the field damage, doesn't have that big elemental burst damage, but she has a lot of off the field damage. Reminds me a lot of Fischl, not saying that Fischl's a better character or anything, but reminds me a ton of Fischl. So I know it's everyone's favorite part about new Genshin characters. How constellation locked are they this time, Mihoyo? So the C1 here, every time you activate that burst, you're gonna blow up your totems, and each totem you blow up is gonna give you back 7 elemental energy. That's 21 max elemental energy. That's pretty nice considering that you have a 90 cost elemental burst. So that's a very nice constellation there. Constellation 2, you're gonna have a 20% cooldown reduction in those E's. So instead of 9 seconds, you get 20% off of that. So almost like a 7-second cooldown, like a 7.5-second cooldown, 7 to 9-second cooldown. That goes a long way to trying to play her as a mono off the field DPS, or a long way into making sure that you have all your totems up, blow them up, you get them all back down. On top of that, that radius of the totems where it can zap people is doubled. So you can't move them, but this will double the radius of what they could attack. So this is also another fantastic constellation, in my opinion. Obviously, C3 is buffing up one of her skills. C5 is buffing up one of her skills. And then C4 here is when the thunderbolts from your E hit opponents, the electro damage bonus of your entire party is boosted by 20%. So they're trying to reinforce this like mono electric thing. It also does buff up herself as well. So it's a nice constellation, even if you just want it for yourself. Now C4 just for 20% elemental damage bonus, I don't think that's worth it. It's not actually 20% damage. It's gonna probably be like 5 to 7.5 at best damage bonus for her and other electro damage bonus characters. Like for Raiden Shogun, 20% electro damage bonus is nothing. She has so much damage bonus up between her own kit and everything else that she can do. This is like a 3% damage bonus at the end of the day there. But here comes C6, the Forbidden Art. So remember how your Sakura's can only max out at level 3? Well, it's going to make them start at level 2. So the first one you summon is going to be level 2. And then all the other ones will give you one more level. So you can max them out to level 4. So 3 totems will make you at max level 4, which gives you a pretty significant boost in damage there to your E's. And their attacks will ignore 45% of your opponent's defense. So this is going to be the catch-all, do all my off-the-field damage bonus with my summoning the King's Defenders. We're playing Arc Knights now or something, sort of game mode in Genshin Impact. They have double AoE radius, cooldown reduction, and it's going to be awesome for players out there who have been saving up for Yae Miko out there. If you are going to be pulling out the wallet, be safe for sure. Don't feel pressured. Every character will come back eventually. Just play the game and live within that means and be safe out there, okay?